to you now, so please take your seats. So I'm going to read the questions. I'm going to have them marked. Then I will take a short recess, let you all talk about it, and then come back.
Thank you.
So, all right. So I received 3 questions from the jury. The first one is, they appeared on note cards, so that I don't know what order they came in, but this is the order I got them. This is the order I'm going to read them. What is the time frame for the OUI charge? Offense 002, Section 5, OUI at 12:45 or OUI at 5 a.m.? The second, are video clips of Karen's interviews evidence? How can we consider them? And the third, does convicting guilty on a subcharge, example offense 2, number 5, convict the overall charge? So I will give you some time to consult. I think the first one, I'll hear from you as to what the time frame is, and I don't need to hear from you now. That's pretty clear cut what they're looking for. The second one are video clips of Karen's interviews evidence. How can we consider them? Well, we know they are evidence and they can give them whatever weight they want. I would also be inclined to give a humane practice instruction, and tell me if you want the digital evidence instruction. It's a little awkward because it would be something like, before you consider any electronic communication in your deliberations, you must first find that it is more likely true than not that the person who appeared in the communication was in fact Karen Reed. So think about that when I come back out. But I think it's appropriate to give a humane practice instruction, and also tell me what you think about what to say about the weight. The third question is a little bit more, I think, unclear as to exactly what they're looking for. Does convicting guilty on a subcharge, example offense 2, number 5, convict the overall charge? What I'm proposing, I gave you both a verdict slip where I included the language. I know yesterday I said they have to be read hand in hand, the jury instructions with the verdict slip. I've incorporated the language from the jury instruction into the verdict slip. I've given each side a copy. When I come out, I'd like your input on whether you think this is appropriate. I would instruct them, as I did before, that they start at the top and work their way down. That's the only thing I did not specifically put in here, but I think it takes it step by step, an analysis to do it. So how much time does the defense want to be able to respond to me?
Perhaps 15 minutes.
Okay, and the Commonwealth?
That will suffice.
Okay, so it's 7 past. Why don't I come out at 25 after, give you 20 minutes?
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Okay, there you have it. The jury had not just one question, but 3 questions after 11 hours plus of deliberation. Each side getting 15 minutes to craft their proposed answers for them. Well, what's the time for the OUI charge? 12:45 or 5 a.m.? Question number 1. Video evidence. How do we consider it? Are the videos evidence? And then that last one. Does convicting guilty on a subcharge affect the overall charge, basically? Again, it's the verdict slip. This was a huge problem the first time around. That first Karen Reed jury found her not guilty of the top 2 charges, but couldn't figure out the verdict form. And here we are again. Let's bring in Vinnie Palletan, lead anchor. He's been through many of these cases and seen many different versions of jury questions. Your initial thoughts, Vinnie, especially on that third question?
No, I think they're related. I think these questions are related. They're talking about OUI. They're talking about OUI, Ted. They're not talking about murder. They're not talking about manslaughter. They're not talking about involuntary manslaughter. They're talking about what is the impact of finding her guilty of OUI. And I think the confusion probably is on that second page of the verdict slip where there's just one not guilty. And I think they're a little confused as to how that relates to all the charges until you get to number 5. But if I am on the defense team right now, probably a little optimistic at this point. If I'm a prosecutor, which I was, I'm not feeling good about this question at all. Now, I could be totally off. Sometimes a question is just from one juror. It's not from all 12. There might be confusion from one juror. But though I'm reading these together, Ted, they are connected. What's the common denominator here? OUI. Was she driving under the influence at 5:07 or was she driving at 12:45? What did Alan Jackson say in his closing argument? We don't know what she did between 12:45 and 5:07. We don't know when the alcohol was consumed. We know when the blood was drawn. We know when the test was done. It seems to me they want to know if it's about 12:45, we might have reasonable doubt. If it's about 5:07, okay, maybe she drank afterwards.
How does the video question
I have no other
enter
way to
in?
read this, Ted.
Yeah.
Do you have another way to read this, Ted?
I think you're spot on. The confusion over the verdict form is something the defense was concerned about before they went back to deliberate, and Judge Cannone was insistent on keeping what they had drafted. What about question 2? Are the videos evidence, and how do we consider them? If your gut is correct that it's all about alcohol, she did talk about consuming drinks in the video evidence.
And that was one of the, and that was one of the things we talked about early on, right? There was a whole series of videos that they played early on in the case where it's her talking about how much did she drink. That would be an admission, a confession to drinking. So again, I think all these things are potentially connected. Now, obviously, the prosecutor says there's a lot more to those clips that he played for this jury, but the other 2 questions are not connected to that. If you want to look for the common denominator in all 3 questions, it's drinking and driving. It's not murder.
Yeah,
I don't know how else to read this. Now, again, everyone needs to know, I know, we've covered these before. Sometimes questions come from 1 or 2 jurors that might be in the minority that are asking these questions, and the others want to say, okay, we'll ask the questions, and then you've got to come along with us. But
Absolutely.
if this is the jury speaking as a whole, this is enormously good news. I would be much more optimistic if I was on the defense side, which I never was. But as a prosecutor, I would not feel good about these questions at all. They're talking about OUI. They've gotten all the way down to the bottom charge of count 2, Ted. We're not debating manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter. The first jury, that's where the first jury was. They were debating involuntary manslaughter.
Yeah,
They've gotten below that.
If they have found her guilty of murder, they don't care about the OUI. They would just
it's irrelevant.
Yeah, and they would find her guilty of that just because. So that's a great point.
Let me tell you something else, Ted.
Yeah.
Can I throw something else in for the folks
absolutely.
watching at home?
Yeah.
You ask a question like this, once you get the answer, a verdict could follow very, very quickly after the answer. Now, we know there's going to be at least 15 or 20 minutes here. And what we've also seen in the history of court TV, Ted, is sometimes when they take too long to answer the question, the jury sends out another note and says, we have a verdict. So I'm not leaving this spot. Let me show you what's happening right here. This is a moment of anticipation. It's palpable, what folks are feeling out here right now, because everyone, as these questions are being asked and answered in court, everybody's streaming it, so they're hearing it as you're reporting it, Ted. So at this point, I think everyone here is anticipating that something big is going to happen very, very soon. Earlier this morning, the crowd was thinning, much thinner than yesterday. Since this note came out, it's starting to fill up again. As a matter of fact, we have to clear the sidewalk because we got people who need to walk by. But this is a big moment, Ted. This is a huge moment. I'll be here. I'm not leaving. I'm expecting something from this jury, whether it's after the question gets answered or maybe even before, Ted.
Yeah, you're right. These questions do give you the sense that a decision at the end of a verdict is coming, because once they get the answer to this question, assuming they are patient enough to wait, there's not much more to go. If indeed they're that low on the verdict form, that means they've accomplished a lot, and they have worked their way down to that question of drinking and driving, which is a question the defense would love to have answered in any way. They'll take it if they can avoid those top charges. Vinnie, stay put.